Tony D and Little Joan with a Screenwriter's Rant on the Love Issue, a TV movie that looks absolutely brutal. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books. Links in the description. Comedy Horror in South Jersey. It's The Pineys, books 1 through 10, available at Amazon.com. Someone checked out The Pineys tonight and bought a whole bunch of books online. That's on top of the books I sold this week, and I'm having a great Halloween. Here you go, Joan. Celebrate. Celebrate with me. And don't get all barky when I'm trying to do the video. Anywho, when I say brutal, I mean this is brutal for me to watch. This is a romance movie about, I guess she's a editor at a fashion magazine called She. And it's one of the dumbest premises. I don't know how they greenlit this thing or why anybody would write it this way. But the premise is she works for She magazine. This is her ex-boyfriend, her boss. What? Okay. So you're telling me two things. One, the boss of a company dated one of his employees, and that was okay. They broke up. She's cool with that. Or he's cool with that. They're both cool with that. And she still works there. Right. That sounds very realistic. What are you doing? There was no way this would fly in a big corporate setting. No way. I don't think there's any way in this day and age that S would fly. Just my opinion. But okay. So she's got to do this big cover and needs a photographer. So she goes down to the daily newsstand to pick up magazines because apparently they don't have them in the office. And goes to pick up her magazine. And runs into a rando on the street who instantly is talking about the cover of the magazine, the one thing that she's majorly concerned of, and he has many opinions on it, just at random. Just at random. He so happens to be a guy on the street who has really strong opinions about the cover of a magazine. So, of course, they get into a little argument like, oh, well, you don't know what you're talking about. People work really hard on that magazine. And he's like, no, this is terrible. So, of course, she goes back into the office and, again, talking to her ex. I guess they're having a party in the office. He got engaged. And she's like, well, I'm seeing someone, too. Okay, very sitcom-y. Like, who? And then she looks over into the other office and sees the same dude who happens to be a photographer that the magazine is just hiring. Oh, that guy over there. Then she pretends like he hugs him like, oh, this is my boyfriend. See, I'm hugging him. And, of course, he's now working on the magazine, and she has to work with him. And at first, he doesn't know that she lied and said they were dating. Another HR nightmare, by the way. So he doesn't know. At least that part is realistic, because I doubt he would go with it. And so he's trying to teach her, oh, well, I got this great idea for photography for the cover of your magazine. Lots of color. And she does too. But see, he's the photographer, so he has the eye. And he takes her out to some culturally relevant murals. And she's like, no, this is too much color. And then they get a real budget, and they're going to build a set. And eventually he finds out about her boyfriend lie and starts playing in with it because he agrees to do so. Well, I guess I can. And I think you could pretty much write what happens next. Of course, they fall in love. And then at some point, they decide to put the readers on the cover of the magazine as their cover. And there's like 17 different ideas for this cover of the magazine. Okay, whatever. And that's supposed to be good because, see, they're using people with different bodies. Yeah, so it's woke too. I already wasn't gonna go see it. You didn't have to make it woke on top of that. Okay, if you want to make it extra terrible, knock yourself out. So of course they fall in love, and then there's some crisis at the magazine over the cover, and he storms out, and then here they are in one scene, very realistically dancing all like girls. Because I think a woman wrote this for women, and eventually they fall in love and I guess get married, because that's the way every romance movie seems to end. Look, ladies, I get it, you want romance, but how about not Fantasyland? I mean, how about a little realism? How about make him a guy? Is this the kind of guy you really want to end up dating? I don't think it is. I mean, if this was a realistic movie with guys, the guy would be a little rough around the edges, at least. He at least when he insulted the cover, he'd be like, "That's an effing stupid cover," and she'd get really upset. You know, something pretty tactless. It's like, you know, women often complain, oh, when men write women, they just write them like men. And actually, that's partly true. It's partly true because they often wedge female characters into male movies that they have no business being there. But that usually is attractive to men in some ways, because like a movie like Atomic Blonde, let's say, that's kind of cool. And it's not totally manly, but you know what I'm saying with the fighting. With this is women writing men like women. They're writing it from their perspective, but it's too much of their perspective. There's almost no male perspective here. I mean, none that I could see. And I see tons of ads, and most of these are probably creeps, but I don't know that for sure. Tons of ads for screenwriters, female, because it's often like a male producer or male screenwriter looking for a female perspective, which, again, I don't know if that's if those are creeps. I would be very wary of those ads, lady screenwriters. But if you are a lady screenwriter, don't write guys this way, because this guy is a complete caricature of I don't know what, and this entire movie exists in a world that can't possibly exist in a real world. I mean, there's nothing real about this movie whatsoever that I could see from the trailer. It's literally like a very unrealistic romance paperback come to life. And it would be different if this was like, I don't know, set in pirate times. Then you could be like, well, it's a little unrealistic, but it's pirate times and they're romanticizing it. This is like romanticizing the modern day to the point at which it's ridiculously not real. Not real. So, now, is it directed well? Meh. Is it acted well? Meh. It's a TV movie, too, which I guess it means there can be no cursing or whatever, but there's like nothing to it whatsoever. Nothing. You know, if you really wanted to have a realistic movie, you'd have one scene, maybe with the guy talking to his buddy about the girl, the way guys talk about girls. Oh, what's she like? Oh, she's pretty hot. You know, great butt, nice eyes, breasts, pretty much good. And you might say, well, that sounds like a pig. No, that's the way guys talk about women. She's not too annoying. Something. Just, you know, throw us a bone here if you wanted to make it even remotely realistic. And I'm not saying it should be hyper realistic or super gritty or anything. No, it should still be a light romance movie. But it's so unrealistic to me. Just first act, she's working at the magazine for her ex-boyfriend. Insane. She has to do the big cover. This is going to be the big thing. Okay. And then she meets a rando on the street who happens to be the same guy The same exact guy who's going to be the photographer, and the same guy she falls in love with later in the movie. Second act, she concocts a stupid boyfriend story. Like she needs to do that. It shows the weakness of her character by doing that. But number two, why couldn't she just say, "Yeah, no, I got a boyfriend." Oh, really? Who? Oh, you wouldn't know him. He lives in Canada, or something realistic like, oh, he works. He drives a limo. Whatever lie she could come up with. I mean, most people, and I'm gonna say especially women, could come up with a pretty believable lie, especially if you live in New York. I'm pretty sure she could come up with a believable lie. I'm pretty sure anybody on the street could come up with a more believable lie than, that guy. But anyway, she puts herself in that position and somehow pulls it off, like one of the Brady kids having 2 dates at the same time. And then the second act is her keeping this plate in the air and then eventually bringing him in on it, and doing the cover of the magazine, which also is about as interesting as watching paint dry. But okay, I don't know what exciting moments you think working at a magazine would bring to the movie, considering how no one reads magazines anymore. But okay, so maybe at the very least you could have made a podcast about it or something that would cue into the modern day for someone under 50. And then the third act, of course, the climax of this thing is there's a misunderstanding, because there always is, and they may not get together. Oh no! And then they do in the third act, because that's what always happens. I mean, God forbid you have growth with one of these characters, like, I love you, but I don't think we're really right for each other. Like one of those kinds of endings. I guess it wouldn't be romance then, but I mean, something different. Something different. That's all I'm saying. Now you got a likable cast, nice looking people, but man, give them some dialogue to sink their teeth into, will you? And then you're gonna throw in the woke cover too? I mean, Jesus. Oh, we gotta do it for modern audiences. So it's showing we're not fat phobic, and then we have a rainbow coalition on the cover. You're doing a magazine. How about cranking it up to the modern day where magazines are almost superfluous to the company? That it should be like a media thing. They're doing it for the website, or they're doing a YouTube video of the making of the cover, which is something they would do, because that would be probably bring in more eyes than the actual cover itself. What are you doing? I mean, this feels like it was written 30 years ago. Oh, she works for a big fashion magazine and she finds love. Yeah. And then you're going to do the woke thing with the cover of the magazine, but you're not going to do the woke thing with the HR nightmare that the movie starts off with, that she's dating everyone in the office. You can't do that anymore. Do you understand? You can't do that anymore. Even if the guy wanted to date some hot chick in the office, his first thought will be, ooh, if I date this chick, I could be in big trouble. If she goes crazy on me, I'm screwed. And I'm out of work. How's that going to look? Yeah. But, oh no, the ladies can get away with it, right? I mean, she could destroy both these guys. Both of them. Certainly her ex-boyfriend would be like top of the list, like, screw you. Oh, you're going to throw me over and get engaged to that bimbo over there? I'll show you. You telling me that's not a realistic worry of the guy who owns the magazine? Yeah, he'd be shuttling her off the magazine as soon as possible. Give her a big payday. Maybe give her own magazine. Oh, you're giving me a cover? Yeah, I'm giving you a cover. Whatever you want. Oh, my head. I just, there's so few of these movies I like. They're even watchable. I mean, at least it's going to be on TV, I guess. It'll probably be on a hotel room TV near you. It's called Love, the Love Issue. Because, see, it's an issue, and it's issue of a magazine. All right, that's just my opinion. That's it for me, Tony D and Little Joan. Check us out on Odysee, Bitchute, and Rumble for our more based takes. I'm exhausted. We'll see you in the next one.